school and everything, like how you can always, like, incorporate Krishna consciousness into
Gee.
it.
Well, specifically, it's the going to school part. It's not everything, it's the going to school part. Well, there's something internal and there's something external. The something external can be you're Krishna's little messenger in school. People may not know that, but you can think of yourself as, I'm Krishna's messenger. And one of the things that I can do as Krishna's messenger is just try to model, not necessarily speak a Bhagavad Gita class, but model the teaching that Krishna gives for devotees. And I can try to be that kind of an instrument for Krishna, a representative of Krishna. Because the other kids in school, they don't know Bhagavad Gita. And they know whatever else they know, but they don't know. So I don't have to speak Bhagavad Gita's message, but I can just live my life accordingly. And that way, I'm Krishna's instrument. Then another thing that you can do, two other things you can do. You can, ask Krishna, pray to Krishna. I want to be your messenger. So somewhere here in school, there's somebody that wants, another reality besides, the standard thing that's going on around us. So, Krishna, please send those people to me so I can be your representative and not tell them too much, because then they'll run the other way. But say something that, according to that person's nature, will help them become a little more thoughtful, a little more mindful, a little more, connected with Krishna. And if you're thinking like that, at some point in time in the course of the school year, Krishna will send you people. And they may ask it in different ways, like, what's with you? Or why do you bring a lunch? Or whatever an open-ended question. And don't tell them too much, but just say something that helps them understand why, these are values that you carry, and you live your life according to the values that you carry. And I learned them from this very ancient book. And if they ask more questions, you can give more, depending upon the questions. Another thing that you can do is you can be respectful to people, even if they're not respectful to you, but keep close friends with those who are wholesome. Be cordial, respectful, tolerant towards others that have different behavior, different speech, and different feel. Don't keep close association. Keep close association with the wholesome persons. And if that's your way of moving through, life in school, you'll attract like-minded people. The wholesome people will be attracted to wholesome people. The bully people will be attracted to other bullies, and like attracts like. So you can be conscious that you're keeping close association with wholesome people. And if you find somebody slips up from being wholesome to something other than wholesome, depending upon the person, you can try to tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, what's going on here? Maybe depending upon the person. So all the while, all of these are just like, I'm Krishna's instrument here. I don't know, how he wants to move me, because I'm in his hands and he's going to move me how he wants to move me. That's how instruments move in the hands of someone. But I want to be Krishna's instrument. And another thing is, this is important. Try to give yourself, or create for yourself, a transcendental impetus to do well in school. The transcendental impetus to do well in school is, if you do crummy in school, people aren't going to take your values and your life as a devotee of Krishna very seriously, because they want to be successful in school. So if you're unsuccessful, it's an impetus to be successful, because it gives me a platform to speak. You don't have to necessarily be the award-winning student of your class, but it needs to be successful. And sometimes young devotees are the valedictorian in their class, and then they get to say something on stage or in their classroom or something. So you're looking for opportunity to represent Krishna in the eyes of other people that don't know exactly what's up with you. But it's just, I want to be representative of Krishna, in a way that Krishna will smile, and speak in a way that Krishna will be pleased, say what Krishna will be pleased, not too much. But then when you have close friends, you can share. Not judge their values, but if they want to know, these are my values and why. And then they may ask you, well, wait a minute, how can you have that value, why not this? But if it's a friend, you can have open discussion. And it doesn't mean you're putting your values up for being switched around, but you can help them understand. I mean, many young people have asked the question, how do I help my friends understand why they should be vegetarian, for example? And so, in thoughtful ways, you can help them understand why it's good. This and that and the other, ethical, health, ecological, and spiritual. Let's say a goal. This is now half the school year is nearly finished. So if you have a goal for yourself in the course of this next semester of school, I'd like to find at least one person who I can openly share Bhagavad Gita's message with. At least ABCs. And then the rest of the people, I want to be a role model for them, just to see this is the life of a young person that lives by the message of Bhagavad Gita. They can have their values and their way, and that's fine. But I want to be that example for the others. And then at least one person. There's more than one person, at least one person. Krishna, please send me that one person. And then you handle it, the relationship carefully, not too much. And then you're making an impact, at least on one person. And that's the way of bringing about some change, is there's this phrase, one at a time. And if you can do that, fantastic. Krishna, very kind. You've given me the opportunity to be your representative. I've tried to model what your teachings are, and you've given me the opportunity to share them with somebody. Very kind. So that's strengthening your relationship with Krishna. while you're going through that thing that's called school. No, somewhere back here, back to your question, I'm not gonna, when I'm 25, 30 years old and I'm living in the world as whatever my life is, a profession and something, I'm not gonna remember when I learned in school and elementary, middle school and junior and senior, so that, I'm not gonna remember all those things. But there'll be skills that I'll learn that I can use in my adult life. So let me learn the skills, not so much, competing against the others and all those material things, but develop my skills so I can be a better servant of Krishna in the course of my life. I don't remember all the things that I learned. If I had a math quiz or something, I don't know how I would do. Probably rusty. But principles, how to so that's the learning value while you're going to school, so that in your adult stage of life you have skills and you can use them. It's a little delayed, time delayed. I don't know exactly how I'm going to use trigonometry when I get to adult life. But it's a skill. Next question. You have something?
So, Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Louder. Can you ask louder so everybody can?
There's some people online. How loud can you get?
I've heard that Krishna can always help you with whatever you do.
Krishna always helps you with whatever you do. I'm repeating for the others.
And then can you do anything without Krishna's help, or do you always need Krishna?
Is it possible to do something without Krishna's help?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you. You want to do something without Krishna's help?
No.
Okay. And the answer is, we're dependent. We're not independent. What we do with the little independence that we have is free will. But even in that little free will, we're not independent. Supposing I want to, it's 3:45. I want to go upstairs and go to Guru Puja. I can't go upstairs and go to Guru Puja unless Krishna helps me. It could take away my motor skills, and I'm sitting here in the chair. Everything, we're dependent. We have some tiny free will, but we're dependent upon Krishna to fulfill that tiny free will. Everybody. The ant walking across the floor. Same. Yeah. Anything else? We have 15 minutes.
Any other questions? No? Dhruv, Shri, any questions for you? No?
I think I have something as a follow-up for Madan Mohan's question. So if we can't do anything without Krishna helping, how about some people who do crazy things? Like, is Krishna sanctioning that?
Madan Mohan, what's the answer?
Yes.
Yes? Yes. Prabhupada gives this example. That it's nighttime and the burglar is sneaking around the neighborhood. And the burglar wants to steal from someone's home.
Mm.
So where does the intelligence to steal from someone's home come from?
Krishna.
From the same place, the person who is in the home saying, I hope my home is safe from the burglar. And put some locks on and put some security cameras because I don't want any problem with burglars in the neighborhood. So intelligence comes from both, for the person that does bad stuff and the person that does good stuff. The intelligence and the ability to do bad stuff or good stuff comes from the same source. Then the real consideration is what's our regard for that source of all things. The person who's the burglar most likely isn't thinking of Krishna's going to help me steal. And the person who wants their home not broken into may or may not be thinking of Krishna, please keep my house and my family safe. The source of everything is the source of everything, good and bad. Yeah,
There's a question online.
really?
This is from one of our youth participants. Her name is Manita. She's a 9th grader.
9th grade.
Her question is, why is God mainly referred to as He, H capital? That's her question.
Okay. You understand the question?
Yes.
The gender of God is masculine. Why?
Because he's important.
Because?
He's important. He's not like any other he or she.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure what you said. What did you say?
No, he thought
No,
she was asking
the
why
question-
it was cat.
Should I repeat the question?
No, no.
You're asking what Madan Mohan said?
Yeah, what did he say?
I didn't understand.
He said,
Can you repeat?
Krishna is important
Krishna is important.
because like he's not like any other he or I.
You're saying why capital H?
Yeah.
He's answering why capital H for him.
Ah,
Because Krishna is important.
okay. But it's not just capital H or capital K, he or Krishna. It's why is God's gender masculine as opposed to she? That's the question.
Yes.
Right? Well, in a transcendental sense, Krishna is both she and he. Because the source of everything is everything. It's not just gender neutral, but is both. However, we refer by language, Sanskrit in particular, there's energy and there's energetic, like the sun and the sunshine. And the shine in relation to the sun is the energy in relation to the energetic. So the energy in Sanskrit is feminine and the energetic is masculine, so we say he. It's just referring, the he is referring to that which is the source. And that which emanates from the source is the energy, or feminine. The energy rests upon the energetic. They're actually inseparable. We don't find sun and sunshine in separate places. You find one, you find the other, because they're inseparable. So Krishna is actually everything. Krishna is actually Radha Krishna. But the energetic is he. And the energy is Radha, she. And her form is a female form, and Krishna's form is a male form. Therefore he. But Radha and Krishna are inseparable. It's Radha Krishna, sun and sunshine. For both.
So this devotee, Manita, she's asking a follow-up question.
Good.
Is it valid then to refer to them as she or they?
Yes, you can do that, but you know,
Thank
lots of people aren't going to understand what you're talking about. They means Radha Krishna. So you can say Radha Krishna, make it easier for people because you're saying Radha Krishna. If you say they, as God is they, it may be confusing because many people don't have that kind of, they're not scripturally educated, they're not used to speaking in those scripturally educated terms. They're used to very simple. There's Radha, there's Krishna, there's Radha Krishna. And Krishna's he, Radha is she. So it's okay to say like that, but you'll confuse people, most likely. So let's keep it simple and not confuse people. Say he. Be energetic. Implied, just one more time. Implied with the energetic, because there's energy. How can you have energetic without energy? It's implied. Okay.
Any other questions? Anyone?
We have 7 minutes before Guru Puja.
You have a question? No.
Let me ask you a question. When you read Bhagavad Gita and you have a question that comes up from reading Bhagavad Gita, what do you do with that question? What do you do?
I asked it to my mom.
Okay. Do you recall having asked your mom a question from Bhagavad Gita? Tell me what that question was.
That question was, I don't remember.
You don't remember? Maybe mom remembers. Is mom here?
Yes.
What was her question?
She will be asking so many questions, like, I don't have answers for those questions. She was asking me something in the morning. I don't recollect, but she asked so many questions.
You say what she asked this morning, and I'll see if I can answer because you couldn't answer.
Yeah, I couldn't remember.
Do you remember the question you asked this morning?
She's 5. She's in kindergarten.
Okay. That's
She's
okay.
one of our youngest member.
Kindergartners can be really smart little kids. You have something.
So I had a question about Bhagavad Gita, and I've asked Krishna Priya Mataji, and I've asked like Pyari Prabhu and more people. But the question was about Yudhishthira. In Mahabharata, he was actually gambling, and gambling is one of the 4 regulative principles.
Right.
So I was wondering why he doesn't follow the 4 regulative principles of gambling.
And who are you referring to?
Yudhishthira.
Yudhishthira. I can give you some other examples of gambling. In the Srimad Bhagavatam. And one answer, there's different answers. One answer is, for Kshatriyas, it's an obligation when someone challenges you to combat, you can't say no. Chivalry is a code of Kshatriya. So someone says, I want to wrestle, or I want to fight, or I want to challenge you in some competition. You say yes. So that's why he said yes. It's just a Kshatriya code. Here's another example you probably are aware of. In Krishna book, Balaram was gambling. And who is he gambling with? Rukmini.
Yeah, okay.
Who is Rukmini? Rukmini is the elder brother of Rukmini. So there's some nice history of how that unfolded. But the occasion was the daughter of Rukmi, excuse me. Yeah,
Yeah.
the daughter of Rukmi was marrying Rukmini's son, and then the daughter of her daughter was marrying Abhimanyu's, Pradyumna's son, Aniruddha. So it was a big wedding. It was a wedding. A wedding. And at the wedding, there was another king that just had a bad attitude towards Krishna and Balaram. They're from a village. What do they know about anything? Challenge him. Go ahead. Challenge Balaram to some competition. And it was some kind of like dice or something like that. And they made wagers. They were, so many coins and so many coins and so many coins. And then he started insulting Balaram. Oh, you people don't know anything about these games because you're just village people. Oh. So that was the pastime. Now the question, why was Balaram gambling? Or here's another one. It's the same answer. They're Kshatriyas. And they're doing, competition, kind of like sports. But even in their case, there was some wager, not just a sport. Because that's allowed for Kshatriyas. Here's another one. When Krishna and Balaram went, the Shamantaka jewel story? Shamantaka jewel? So when Satyajit came into Dwaraka, proud, he's got this fantastic jewel hanging around his neck. The people in Dwaraka thought the sun god is paying his respects to you, Krishna. So they went to tell Krishna. What was Krishna doing? He was playing chess with Balaram. I don't play chess. But Krishna and Balaram were playing chess. They weren't necessarily competing with wagering and gambling and something, but they were playing chess. So they're Kshatriyas. I know there's in Chicago, there's two boys, and they regularly play chess. They don't gamble, but they play chess. Yes.
I remember her question. So
I thought so.
Not from the morning, but earlier she was asking me that how we understand that Sita got kidnapped by Ravana, because Sita Maya is as powerful as the Lord, because she is the consort of the Lord. And another question she was
let's
asking.
do that one. Let's do that one before you go to the next question.
Yeah. So.
Before you go to the next one.
Yeah, that's what the question she was asking me, and I was trying to explain her that she was a Maya Sita, and so that story from what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says from the Kurma Puran. That story I was trying to tell her.
She was okay with that answer?
She was okay, but
she's saying no.
she will be. I have to convince her a lot of times. She is not happy with my answers, and she will be asking multiple questions. And whatever answer I give, she try to ask the same question in different ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you. What's your name?
Tulsi.
Tulsi.
Tulsi. That's a nice name. Okay. So, what's the difference between Maya and Radha, or Maya and Sita? What's the difference? Is there a difference? What's the difference? You don't know. One is the real thing, listen, the real thing, and the other is a reflection or image of the real thing. Just like, supposing this is a mirror, and here's an apple, and I can hold the mirror in such a way you can see a reflection of the apple in the mirror. There's an apple, there's a reflection of the apple. No, Maya is like the reflection of the real thing. So Sita is the real thing, and Maya Sita is a reflection of the real thing. And that's who Ravana kidnapped, Maya Sita. Not the real thing. He can't touch Sita. No way. He's a demon. And demons can't touch the real thing. They're going to touch illusory something. Because that's their life. Their life is a life of illusion. How can Sita, who is as powerful as Ram, be touched by a demon? Not possible. And that was your question. It's not possible. How can she be? The answer is she wasn't. Then what happened? It was a Maya Sita. An illusory, looked like. Here's the apple. There's the mirror. Looks just like an apple. Exactly like the apple. That's what mirrors do. There's no substance there. There's no nourishment. You can't satisfy your hunger by the reflection of the apple in the mirror. It's just an illusion. And that's what happened. What do you think? You're not sure. I can tell by that expression. How are we doing with time?
It's 3:47, but Radhika came prepared with her homework, her questions. I don't know if there's
You
time.
have a homework question?
I mean, she came prepared with
Okay,
written down.
what's your question?
So what should be our mood while doing kirtan?
What should be our mood while doing? What should be our mood while doing kirtan?
By doing kirtan. Great question. I can say what your mood should not be, and I'll say what your mood should be. You want to hear both of them, right? What your mood should be is, this is meant for Krishna's pleasure. What it's not meant is, let's hang out and have a good time and make some nice sounds come out of our musical instruments and our voices and have a good time and have some fun. I mean, nothing wrong with having fun, but it's more fun if the inner contemplation is, this is meant for Krishna's pleasure. Just like we're going to go upstairs shortly and have Guru Puja. And it's one thing to meditate on, let us honor Srila Prabhupada with nice song, nice musical instruments, offering nice flowers for his pleasure. And it's another thing that someone's dancing fancy, and someone's singing fancy, and someone's playing Mridanga fancy, and it's a different experience. So that should be our mood during Kirtan. Krishna should be pleased.
And then my second question is, what should be our mood while reading Srila Prabhupada's books?
What should be our mood while reading Srila Prabhupada's books?
Oh, receiving mercy. Here's a really simple one. You're sitting down, and you haven't opened up the book yet, and your thought goes to Prabhupada. Very generously and graciously gave these writings for me. Let me open my heart and receive what Prabhupada wanted to give. It's a personal exchange between Prabhupada and me. So now let me read Prabhupada's books in that mood. Because he wants to give me something. And I'd like to receive that something he wants to give me. My receiver is on. The signal is being broadcast through the book. Let me pick up the signal. Okay, let's go upstairs.
Thank you so much.
We're-